What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction. I'm back with some more hardcore, and as you can see, we're back with some effing hardcore. So it's interesting, this record very clearly shows a Mokum Records label, but the information on Discogs, and indeed one of the logos on the back here, is from my friend Roberto's label, Overdrive. So yes, apparently this is an Overdrive record, Overdrive Limited 1, as you can see at the top here, but it has a number of associated and ultimately friendly labels for other hardcore imprints, which is to say there's a Cenobite logo on here, there's a No Pizza Rave logo, and indeed there's multiple Mokum logos. So yes, ultimately this is a tune from 2015, which is interesting because it's by Twins Artcore, another fantastic artist. He also goes by the name Danny Tribe. In the early days it was him and his brother, but in more recent years it's just Daniele. And it's with Walter One, who is a figure from the Roman hardcore scene. He passed away in 2013, so I don't know whether this track uses some material from a different Walter One tune. Maybe it's a track that they made in collaboration years earlier and that was only put on vinyl in 2015. So yes, whether Roberto or someone else, if you have some insight there, do let me know. But yeah, this is one I got several years ago, I think directly from Roberto, maybe not. I got a number of records from him, but then others I got from people on Discogs around the same time, maybe 2017 when I was first starting to get a lot of early hardcore. Are you gonna sit down, or what's the plan here? You've not made up your mind? Do you want to sit on the chair? Nope, she's going to lean against me and not sit down. You're fascinating, Luca. But yes, it's called Fucking Artcore on the Fucking Hardcore 9 release, which again is also Overdrive Limited number 1. So there's a lot of numbers, a lot of hardcore, a lot of artcore. But yes, this is a fantastic tune that I think is very reflective of the artcore sound. It's got reggae vocal samples, it's got drum and bass rhythms, but also that wicked driving old school Gabber bass line and kick. And it actually features an adapted reggae style sample based on an old French like folk tune, so people might recognize that when it comes along. Let's give it a listen. This is by the Twins Artcore and Walter One, R.I.P., Fucking Artcore on Fucking Hardcore 9, which is also Overdrive Limited number 1, released in 2015.
Good evening, citizens of Earth.
No for them a worry, no for them a worry. Some of them a fret, some of them no for you here, but you ranking a boom. No for you here, but you ranking a boom, 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 boom. For you here, but you ranking a boom. Kill for you here, but you ranking a boom, 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 boom. For you here, but you ranking a boom, boom. No for you here, but you ranking a boom, 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 boom. For you here, but you ranking a boom. Kill for you here, but you ranking a boom, 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 boom. No for you here, but you ranking a boom. No for you here, but you ranking a boom, 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 boom. For you here, but you ranking a boom. Kill for you here, but you ranking a boom, 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 boom. No for you here, but you ranking a boom. No for you here, but you ranking a This is not the end. This is not all the bear.
Together we witness one of the most delightful of our time. So, let the thing go.
There's so many samples in this one. Madness. It's sheer madness. Again, there's so many samples going on there. And there's ultimately, I think, some samples that show up in other famous hardcore tunes. That Energy one in particular stuck out to me. But yeah, it's fantastic. It's got a lot of variety along the way. Moments where it's a bit more melodic, moments where it's a bit more smashing, moments with a lot of those artcore stylings, that opening drum and bass rhythm, the reggae style samples, but then there's some other, like different types of samples, whether, more like sci-fi sounding, Citizens of Earth, and others that are, very intense and like shouted, and there's even some extended shouted vocals like stretched out in the background. But yeah, I like the evolution of the tune. It's very dynamic. Don't get me wrong, sometimes a tune has a very strong riff, and it just kind of keeps doing that riff, maybe bringing in some acid or a couple other ingredients along the way, but it's largely focused on a singular riff or melody. Others, like this track, really cycle through a lot of different sections, so, it's like a multi-phase journey, even though it's only like a 4 or 5 minute track. So yes, top tune. It's one that I am surprised I hadn't react to, but I made a point to search before I did this reaction. Maybe I reacted to it on my old YouTube channel a few years ago, but yeah, I think most of the hardcore reactions I either uploaded in the very early days of this channel, because I still had those old videos, or I decided to reshoot. And in a couple cases it's both. A couple cases I had an original reaction that came from my old channel in the early days of this channel. And then later I said, you know what, I'm going to take a second look at this now that I'm a bit more polished or a bit more experienced in doing reactions, and tend to focus what I'm saying a bit more acutely. But yes, apparently I had never reacted to this, which is a bit of a surprise. Shout out, of course, to Twins Artcore. Shout out to and RIP to Walter One. Big shout out to Roberto, aka Formac, who mastered this tune and who masters a lot of tracks on some different labels in the hardcore world. Shout out to his Overdrive label as well as to the others back here. All my favorites: Mokum, Cenobite, No Pizza Rave. And there's one admittedly here that I don't recognize the logo for. So I apologize to whoever's label that is, but I can't quite get a read on who that is. But I do enjoy, there's a bunch of pictures here on the back of some of these gangsters in the hardcore world, so shout out to all them, as well as I said, the labels. Indeed, there's a special thanks here, so I'll read it out. Special thanks to Fred Berghout, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Michael Clausen, aka Leviathan, aka the guy who runs the Cenobite label, Francois, Overdrive Family, Brainworms, is that the Brainworms logo? I'm not sure. Alex, Coma, and all fucking hardcore people, of which, if you watch this reaction, you can consider yourself one of those. So yes, shout out to everyone in the hardcore world, especially those who are responsible for hardcore still coming out in vinyl. You are very much appreciated. Let me know what you think. I'll see you next time. Peace.